For 5,000 years, one body of water determined who ruled the world. Whoever controlled it, controlled everything. Their food, their trade, their armies. The Romans called it Mare Nostrum, our sea, and they were right, it was theirs, because without it, Rome was nothing. Without it, there is no Roman Empire, no Greek philosophy reaching the world, no Egyptian grain feeding millions. The Mediterranean was not just a sea, it was the engine of human civilization for 5,000 years. But here is what almost nobody knows. The Mediterranean nearly disappeared entirely. 6 million years ago, it dried up completely. In this video, one thing changes. The Strait of Gibraltar never reopens. The Atlantic never refills the Mediterranean. Everything else stays the same. About 6 million years ago, Africa and Europe were pushing toward each other. The connection between the Atlantic and Mediterranean slowly closed. With no water coming in from the Atlantic, the Mediterranean began to evaporate. Within just 1,000 years, a geological eye blink, it was almost completely gone. What remained were a few scattered hypersaline lakes. The rest was exposed seafloor, salt, rock, and silence. The basin sat 3 to 5 kilometers below sea level. Summer temperatures at the bottom may have reached 80 degrees Celsius. Pure geological hell, a landscape so hostile that almost nothing could survive, the deepest, hottest place on the surface of the earth. Then, 5.3 million years ago, the land bridge cracked. The Atlantic broke through. What followed was the largest flood in the history of the planet, water cascading 5 kilometers down into the basin, filling it within months, creating the sea we know today. But what if that crack never came? What if the land bridge held and the Mediterranean stayed dry forever? The cascade of consequences begins immediately. The Mediterranean basin becomes a permanent salt desert. 2.5 million square kilometers of white salt flats, 5 kilometers below sea level. The Mediterranean moderates the climate of southern Europe. Without it, Italy, Greece, and Spain become dramatically hotter and drier. The farmland turns to dust. The Nile still flows, but now it plunges 5 kilometers down into the basin. A canyon deeper than the Grand Canyon, running beneath what is now Cairo. During the original drying, animals walked freely between Africa and Europe across the basin floor. In this timeline, that land bridge is permanent. Africa and Europe are no longer separated by water, they are one continuous landmass. The consequences for every species on both continents are immediate and permanent. Over millions of years, life adapts. Unique species evolve in the basin, found nowhere else on Earth. A biological world unlike anything that exists today. When early humans spread out of Africa, they walked directly into the basin, the lowest, hottest place on Earth. A corridor between continents instead of a barrier. The first civilizations rise not along coastlines, but on cliff tops above the basin, looking down on trade routes crossing the salt flats 5 kilometers below. Trade happens on foot and by camel across the basin floor, not by ship. Ideas, goods, and armies move at the pace of a walking camel, not a sailing ship. Rome's power came from controlling the sea. Without the Mediterranean, Rome never becomes a naval superpower. The Roman Empire as we know it does not exist. Egypt still exists, built on the Nile, but now it controls the deepest canyon on Earth, the only river route between Africa and the basin floor, an unimaginable advantage. With Africa and Europe permanently connected, there is no sea barrier, no separate continents. The entire history of both civilizations rewrites itself completely. In today's world, the Salt Basin is the most strategically valuable land on Earth, sitting between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Whoever controls it controls everything. The salt deposits alone, nearly 1 million cubic kilometers. Add oil, gas, and rare minerals locked in the former seafloor. The basin would be worth trillions. Southern Europe, without the Mediterranean's moderating effect, is unrecognizable. Italy, Greece, southern France, the climate of the Sahara, the wine regions and olive groves gone. In this world, the deepest place on Earth is not an ocean trench. It is the Mediterranean basin, a salt desert the size of the United States, 5 kilometers deep. A civilization of hundreds of millions rings the basin's edges, connected by land across what was once the most important sea in history. Not Roman, not Greek, not Egyptian, something entirely new. A civilization we have no name for. Born from the edges of the deepest place on Earth. From space you would see it clearly. A white scar between Europe and Africa, where the most important sea in human history once was. The flood that refilled the Mediterranean happened in geological terms, in an instant. One crack in the land bridge, just one. That is all that separates our world from this one. A single crack in the rock. A moment that lasted less than a second and changed everything. This had Earth. If you made it this far, thank you. Drop a comment below and tell me which corner of Earth's history you want me to explore next.